Welcome to part 1 of Competency 1 quiz. In this video, we will work with scientific notation, the real number system, and properties of real numbers. Number 1, which expression is equivalent to negative 4y times x minus 2? Okay, we will use the distributive property to multiply into the parentheses, meaning we're going to distribute negative 4y to x and the negative 4y to negative 2. Okay, now for this one, make sure you're careful with your positives and negatives in distributing everything in. Let's look at option A. I see some negative positive issues. I also see that there is no y. There should be y somewhere. So obviously A is incorrect. Now, we are distributing y in to both values inside the parentheses. So B would be incorrect because we're missing a y value. Bare minimum, there are other problems here with sign, okay? So B is not correct. Let's look at C, okay? All right, they have, let's see, negative 4yx. Well, I see that right here. Okay, I agree with that. And negative 4 times negative 2. You know what? If you get tired and these numbers are larger, you could just pop it in the calculator. You could just quickly say negative 4 times negative 2 because we're using the times we need negative on both. And it gives us a positive 8. And don't forget that y. And it does. It has a y. It looks like they've just shifted the position of your 8y and your negative 4yx. That's fine. That's just the commutative property in action. Okay? So I would say C is the best answer. Let's look at D. The actual distribution is correct, but for one issue. We have incorrect signs right here. So they've distributed the integers and the variables correctly, but not the actual sign correctly. Either it was a distribution or it's just incorrect multiplication. So that's why I say pop in the calculator really quick in case you're tired, in case your eyes don't see it, or write it out for yourself and then compare it. Either way. But notice we can't use the calculator as far as like putting things in the table and checking the values because we have two variables. Okay. This calculator just has problems dealing with that. There is a way to do it. We could isolate the y, put it in y-intercept form, but man, by then you could already have the answer, right? Okay, let's look at number 2. Which property of numbers is illustrated by, in parentheses, negative 5 times 6, and then all of that times 13. And they have that set equal to negative 5 times, in parentheses, 6 times 13. Okay. All of these digits keep their order. I agree that when you multiply the left side, the value is equal to the multiply of the value on the right side. So I know the statement's correct. Okay, now note, really quickly, you could get rid of some things. Everything is multiplied. So whatever property you're using, more than likely we're talking about multiplication. And we are. So that means A and B can't be it because they're talking about addition. Okay, we don't have that going on here at all. Now let's look at C and D. We do have property of multiplication for both, but which one is it? Is it commutative or associative? Well, all of the values, all of the integers stay in the same position on the right side and the left side. So that cannot be commutative. C cannot be an option. Now let's double check D. Associative means you do one thing first, and then on one side and on the other side, you do something else first. Well, yeah, that's demonstrated or illustrated with the parentheses. They simply move the parentheses. So, yes, we can say option D is valid. Okay, let's go to number 3. Okay. All right. So, number 3 says evaluate the expression 5 minus 8 times 3, okay, using the distributive property of multiplication over addition. Now, note, when they say addition, that also implies subtracting, okay? Because subtracting could be written like this. You may have learned this in elementary. This could say 5 plus -8. And that is addition. So just because there's a subtraction, don't let it throw you, okay? That is the correct property, okay? Which one of the following illustrates this approach? Now think about what I just wrote, okay? First, A can't be it. I would completely disagree with B also. That doesn't even make sense. Now let's look at C and D. Well, if you look at the way I wrote it above, to rewrite it to explain it, that is suspiciously like what you have on C. Okay. Now, D, I would say D, I'm not going to disagree with it. I don't think it's incorrect, but does it, keyword, illustrate the approach? No, it does not illustrate the approach. Which in this question, it's almost like they've been embedded those, it's kind of like those questions where they say, what is the best thing to do for the student? What is the best way to teach this particular topic? They're testing to see if you know your vocabulary and do you see the difference? Okay. All right, let's go to number 4. Number 4, which two properties of numbers are illustrated by the following sequences? Okay. Well, let's look at what we have. I see the same numbers on the left-hand side, in the middle, and on the right-hand side. Okay. And I see parentheses used. I see only addition. Okay. So I'm going to say that anything having to do with multiplication is not valid. So B would not be valid. Now here with A, we have addition and addition. So only talking about addition. But with C, we are talking about multiplication. Well, there is no multiplication to discuss. The same thing going on here with D. Just by knowing our properties, we've eliminated everything but A. Okay, well, let's really look at it. Okay, let's start on the left-hand side. In parentheses, we have 7 plus 3. But then in the center, our parentheses is shifted. It's not only shifted, the position of the 3 and the 6 have been switched. They're swapped. So between the left-hand side and the center, we have the associative property as well as the commutative property. But let's go over to the right-hand side. Well, my, or parentheses, is shifted over again. And, oh, is it shifted? I wouldn't say that. You know what I see? What's actually been shifted? The 7 has moved from in front of the parentheses to behind the parentheses. Well, that moving of placement, moving your number, that is commutative. So we have the associative situation and the commutative situation. So what we add together first is shown, and it doesn't matter which one we add, and when we move the numbers, it doesn't matter. But anyway, the point is option A is correct because those are the two laws that are being used, although fully used interchangeably. Okay, let's look. Number 5. Okay. Marty claimed that all negative numbers are less than -1. Which one of the following responses is most appropriate? I like what Marty said, except for one thing. If he was talking about all integers, I would completely agree with him. I would say less than all negative. Well, you have to include -1, but I'll give him that. The problem is he said all negative numbers. The minute he said that, that would imply the real number system. Okay. So when he said that, we know he left out the interval from -1 to 0. Okay. So now let's read our options. His claim is completely correct. No, he left out a whole section of a lot of, actually, that's an infinite amount of numbers. Think about it. When you have 1 over 5, 3 over 5, and you keep changing the values, I mean, there's so many combinations. So he forgot a lot. Okay, B. His claim is wrong. I agree with that. Some numbers less than -1 are irrational. That's not what the question is asking or implying. It's really talking about the real number system versus the integers. So I would disagree with B. C, his claim is wrong because there are negative fractions between -1 and 0. Yes, I agree with C. Let's look at D. His claim is wrong because a negative number always lies to the right of 0 on the number line. Oh, that's just not true. Everything to the right of 0 is positive. So, yes, that would be option C. Okay. And if you weren't sure about things, what I said about this interval that they're talking about, put a few things in the calculator and see what happens. And get a number line out. Sorry, number line, and look at the numbers and think about it to yourself. What does that really encompass? Okay. All right. Number 6. Which of the following is undefined? Oh, we can put those in the calculator. If you're not sure, I see it. It jumps out at me. But you could go down the line and put each of those in the calculator until you get an error. Let's demonstrate. 12 times 0 is 0. That is defined, meaning you see it on your calculator. It has a value. Now let's do the next one. 0 divided by 12. 0 again. It is defined. It has a value. 0 plus 12. Of course, it's 12. It has a value. It is defined. Let's look at D. 12 divided by 0. Yeah, that is our error, is because we cannot divide by 0. That is undefined, defined, and it would indicate an asymptote on a graph. Okay, so D is the option that we need. Okay, this is the last question in this particular video. I want to thank everyone for their wonderful comments and liking and sharing our videos. It's greatly appreciated. And for everyone who subscribed, that's the best way to support us. Thank you very much. Because of you guys, we'll keep making videos. Happy testing, everybody.